we're going to go ahead and move on now to our next topic of the show. And this one takes us to the sport of boxing, where we have one Gervonta Tank Davis saying he's fed up and tired of the sport of boxing and he is contemplating retirement. Now, Tank right now, he's still young, he's still able, he's very near the top, he's in the pound for pound discussion. He lost to Roach. Roach said it from the beginning. He's like, I'm gonna beat him.
Yeah.
And it was a nice little performance by Roach. I mean, Roach fought the perfect fight for him to win, and Tank wasn't too happy with the decision. And so now Roach is basically saying, I think Tank's ducking me. Like, he don't want this smoke again.
Yeah.
He don't want to fight. And so at this point, basically what he's doing is, I think what Roach is trying to do is he's pulling that cowboy special. He's trying to negotiate in the media and say, hey, little bro, don't want this fight. But Tank's been rumored to have been like, hey, I'm done after 2025. I don't really see myself going forward. I don't want to really be in the spotlight, the limelight. I'd rather make money and just be, not seen. And so I think at this point, once you start talking about retirement, you might as well go ahead and retire because you're already to that point. Tank's trainer says, hey, it's all fake news, but I think you kind of say that when you don't want to take any potential offers off the table. You don't want to minimize your earning capacity. You basically want to just keep the door open just in case, doing something like a John Jones or Conor McGregor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're playing and being like, oh, this, that, and the other. But ultimately, the door stays open to where you can, if necessary or if able, you can come back and try to compete. And I think that's what Tank's coach is trying to do. Be like, this is not definitive. It's not even real. Like,
I think
the
only thing that was posted from him was just a statement that said, again, fake news. That's all we're seeing is just fake news. So, and just to kind of clarify a little bit, per Tank's and Roach's last fight, it did end in a draw. It was a majority draw. But again, everybody gave the fight. Everybody that saw the fight, even me and Joe, that we got to watch the fight, we clearly had it for Roach winning that fight. Roach should have won that fight. Just the way that he fought him, the way that he was, just applying that pressure to Tank, not giving him a chance to breathe. And then at one point, even though they did not count it as a knockdown, Tank went down on one knee, which should have been counted as a knockdown, and it was not, and they gave him extra time to catch his breath and for him to get back up and all that shit.
He called a timeout.
Yeah, he called timeout. So for me, it's like, I think Tank right now at this point, he does want to get out. I think sometime last year or the year before last, he did announce, like right after all his big fights, he did announce that, 2025 was going to be his last year. He was already looking at it. He was debating it or, playing around with the idea of retiring or not. But he never did give us a definitive answer whether or not he was going to retire. But I mean, for me, I honestly think the same as you, Joe. I think that what he's doing is he's ducking Roach. He doesn't want that smoke again because he knows that if he gets in the ring with Roach again, Roach was this close. This close.
Roach had him, dog. Roach was working him.
He was this close to get his ass out of there. And I think that if they would have counted it as a knockdown, I think that if they would have given him the fight, that it would have just forced a rematch because then, Tank would have had to come back and get his title back.
Get his lick back.
But because they gave the fight, they counted it as a draw, a majority draw, Tank is like, I'm still undefeated. Nobody's beat me yet. Nobody's done nothing to me.
Do you think that kind of... Do you think in this era of having an O behind your record being so important, do you think that that's kind of what's making Tank hesitant? Like, oh man, boxing's not the same. It sucks. I'm fed up with it. And
I think
like
that
that's
has a
kind
lot
of an
to do with it.
excuse to step away.
I think it does. I think it does have a lot to play into that, and why he would rather make it seem like, oh, I'm so disappointed in boxing and I'm just going to step away at this point. I think it's just I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna go ahead and just say it. I think it's a cowardly way to just go ahead and get out of the game, so you don't have to defend your title again. You can go out on top and say, "Hey, I was undefeated. I had one draw. Nobody beat me." You know what I mean? He can actually do that right now, and nobody can give him an argument besides saying, "Well, that fight with Roach, in the people's eyes, you lost that fight, but technically on paper, it was a draw." So I mean, and that's the only thing you can say against
All
him.
that
And he can
matters is what's in the record books. The
exactly,
public opinion don't mean shit.
and that's what he's going to say. So I just think it's a cowardly way to end your career if you're going to end your career. I mean, the fighters that we remember, the fighters that we grew up watching, and again, and I'm not trying to make this a old school versus new school type thing, but everybody that fought back in the day, you know, they went out on their cross. They went out and gave everything they gave until, you know, father time catches up with you and the younger fighter ends up winning, and you get a new crown champion. Nowadays it seems like
I mean,
as soon as you
look
make
at
it to
like
the
the
top,
old school Duran, Leonard, Hagler, Hearns. Like those guys fought each other,
bro,
and it didn't matter if you lost,
no,
you were still held in high regards. I think the fighters of today are so obsessed with the
they
O, and I think the one that made it that way was Mayweather. And everybody thinks, well, he just capitalized on that O, and that's what made him. I'm not a Mayweather fan, right? But at the same time, I'm like, the man capitalized. He knew how to sell a fight, and he knew what had to be done to win. He wins.
don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is an amazing boxer, an
He's an amazing
amazing
boxer
boxer
and salesman.
and salesman. But at the end of the day, he's an amazing boxer. When he used to be what was his nickname before it was Money
Pretty boy
Mayweather?
Floyd.
Pretty Boy Floyd. He was knocking people out. Don't forget that. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
He was
But his hands
actually,
were all
yeah, he was breaking his fucking hands in the ring and knocking people out. So at one point he was dangerous. And then once he became Money Mayweather when he started being more defensive, using his defense, working the ring, working on points, winning fights that way instead of breaking his fucking hands. I mean, you can't blame the man for being more technical. Again, the art of boxing is knock somebody out without getting hit.
hit,
That's the
don't get
art of
hit. Yep.
exactly hit and don't get hit. That is the art of boxing. Anybody who knows boxing or studies boxing or watches boxing, you know that the only way for you to become a champion is for you to hit and not get hit. That's the name of the game. Whenever you go into a boxing match, the first thing that they say is protect yourself at all times.
At all
That's
times.
that's what you're supposed to do. So I'm not mad at that, but at the same time, because of what Floyd laid the foundation for, now you have all these fighters that basically look at it as if I lose,
They think they have to follow that blueprint, that
yeah,
roadmap. And it's like,
yeah,
no, do your
yeah,
own thing.
exactly.
Having
Again,
having a couple L's on your record.
you named a
Look
bunch
at
of
look at
great fighters.
Canelo, bro. Canelo's got some L's on his record.
Exactly.
That don't mean that he's just some bum now. Like everybody's just
Some
done
of
with
the
him.
greatest fighters that have ever
Chavez,
boxed, Chavez, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. I mean, you can name a ton of Lennox Lewis, a ton of different fighters. Nobody that's held in that regard has ever just been clean all the way through.
right?
No one. And Floyd was the first one to start that. Roy at one point he was pound for pound the greatest fighter that anybody's ever laid eyes on in the sport of boxing. Roy had a mean and fast left hook that he would devastate people. He would make people look silly in the ring. There was nobody that could step to him. You know, and Antonio Carver comes along and
Tarver.
Tarver, yeah, comes along and then all of a sudden catches him and there you go. There's history.
But that didn't make Roy Jones Jr. any
It
less of
doesn't.
a phenomenal
It doesn't.
fighter.
He's still in my opinion, one of the greatest boxers that has ever graced the square circle. That's as
Yep.
simple as that. Not
Yep.
going to take that away from him. I mean, for me, we've had this debate off air a bunch of times. You know, everybody has their own GOAT. For me, my GOAT was Mike Tyson. No one could compare to him in speed and power. I'm not going to say size because he wasn't the biggest or the tallest heavyweight ever, but just the way that he fought, with the ferocity that he fought, with the ill intention that he fought, bro, nobody could match that. If you
Nope.
took Tyson in his prime, hell, I put him up against anybody, and I guarantee you Mike comes out on top of that fight real quick. So, and again, that's neither neither here or there. But you know, the whole thing with Tank talking about retirement, I just think it's just a coward's way of trying to get out and not taking other big fights that he could potentially not only benefit from, but leave his legacy behind on. And to me, it's just a simple fact of he doesn't want that smoke because he's already fought a couple fighters that have gotten really, really close to giving him that one L that would stain in his opinion, I guess, would stain his record.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
never use the word coward and in association with Tank, man. I think he's got the heart of a lion, a heart of a champion. And I do think though that as he continues to age, as we all do, like
Yeah.
certain things start to come into perspective, and he's just like, man, do I want to get up for this fight again? Man, do I want to go through this 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks camp? Do I want to mess with all that? I've made all this money. I'm in
Exactly.
a good spot. I have generational wealth. I'm still a big name in the sport of boxing. Do I want to risk tarnishing my legacy? You have a lot of things that just kind of tell you stay on the couch, bro. Like you don't have to you don't have to be that hungry young lion anymore that has to go hunt to survive. At this point, you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So I think that's definitely understandable as far as him thinking about retirement. I think the timing is a little bit suspicious based on the fact that the last time we saw him and Roach were going to a draw. And I agree with you. I do think Roach got that knockdown and should have been deemed a knockdown, but unfortunately it wasn't. It just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
And like we talked about in that last video, Roach said that Tank was telling him they're not gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
If it goes to the judges, you're not getting it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it went to a draw and people were not happy. I wasn't happy, you weren't happy, but
Yeah.
boxing is boxing, and
It
they're
is.
doing a lot of things to kind of to fix it and get it back into good favor with the fans. But I think Tank's just like I said, once you start contemplating retirement, it's time to hang him up, man,
Oh
because at
yeah.
that point
You're
you
already
don't have
thinking
anything
about
else to prove, right?
Yeah, you're already thinking about other things that you want to be doing as
Yep.
instead of boxing. Boxing is no longer a priority for you. So if
You don't
boxing
need
ever
it. You
exactly,
don't
if
need it anymore.
I mean Canelo doesn't need it anymore, and he still trains like boxing is life. You know what I mean? Like he
I mean,
doesn't
that's
stop.
his
But
motto, boxing is
that's
life.
that's what he does. But he loves the sport of boxing. He's From my understanding, he'll probably never quit. Even when he does retire, or just finally decides to retire, he'll probably still be in the gym working out and, acting like he's going to get ready for another fight when he doesn't need to anymore. But again, man, Tank, wishing you all the best if you do decide to retire and decide to leave the sport. Hey, man, more power to you. That's all I can say.